I hear you're struggling with art block and maybe some inspiration for your creations. Well, I am going to give you some tips today, and while I'm giving you those tips, instead of looking at me, why don't we check out this speed paint of a penguin, a cute penguin that I have made. What do you do if you find you're comparing your work to others, get overwhelmed by a blank canvas, aren't feeling inspired, find that life's getting in the way of your artwork, and find yourself not honoring your creative goals? We will be covering all this stuff and answering those questions and more in this video of 10 tips on how to overcome art block. I'm Shy Fox, and I'm a full-time freelance digital artist. I make digital art tutorials on my channel aiming to help you reach your art goals, so like and subscribe if you want to learn more from me. Getting right into things then, tip number 1, understanding why you have art block helps you beat it. If you don't know what's getting in your way, how are you supposed to overcome it? You came to this video most likely with the interest of learning what things you can do to help yourself, so that's an excellent start. First tip is to reflect on why you're having trouble and then consider what you can do about it. So the remaining 9 tips are going to help you with both of those things. So figure out first why you are struggling and then start trying things to solve how to overcome the problem, and it could take some trial and error. Don't give up too soon. Tip number 2, what do you do about comparing yourself to others? One of the most common struggles for artists is comparing yourself to others. Social media makes that really hard when you're constantly seeing others pumping out awesome art. But you need to think of things differently as being inspired by rather than defeated by what other artists are doing. Be realistic. You can't be as good as so-and-so artist if you haven't worked as hard as them. Too often we compare ourselves to artists who are far beyond ourselves. I've had people comparing to me saying, I wish I could draw like you. And every time I think to myself, I used to wish that too when I saw other people's work years ago. But the start of my art journey was back in 2011, and I've put in lots of hours since then, and now people are saying that to me. Keep realistic about how much work you've put in. I see people asking artists they admire, how long have you been drawing? Well, you're asking the wrong question. Years passing doesn't really matter if you haven't worked your butt off. So the focus should be then what things have you done to improve, not how much time has passed since your journey started. The artists who put in the work will be the most rewarded. You get out what you put into it, so you're going to have to work hard and spend more creative energy. When you see another person's artwork, it doesn't come paired with a resume explaining everything they've done before that piece. So that's always unseen information, unless you really dig into an artist's journey, which would probably be worth doing, by the way. Perhaps get informed on the grind that artist has gone through to get realistic about what it really takes to get on that level. Note that everybody's journey is different and could take different amounts of work and time. I personally am self-taught while others go to school, but no matter your chosen path, we can keep working towards our goals. So the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself and your previous artworks, looking for that improvement. If you aren't seeing improvement, then you can reflect on how it is you're spending your time creatively. Tip number 3, what to do when you're staring at a blank canvas and it's overwhelming and intimidating. You question yourself, will this piece be any good? Or will I make an artwork as good as my last one? If you're struggling to start, then start with something small. That helps with the fear of failure. Do something that feels achievable. Start with sketches you enjoy. Make the purpose of the art have less weight on it, less pressure on yourself. Stop thinking you need to make something to please social media or make some elaborate project. Think about making something smaller, and you can do something bigger when the project feels right. Speaking of social media, you can always share sketches on social media too. Sometimes my sketches do way better than my actual completed artworks. Everything you make doesn't need to be a completed artwork. People love to see works in progress. But if you can dial back the pressure on yourself and say, I'm gonna draw, but it doesn't have to be good, or it doesn't have to be for anything, that's a great mentality to go in with. Tip number 4, what to do when you're at a loss for inspiration to start and your creative energy is running low. Well, don't force it. You've tried doing things to get inspired and it's just not working right now, then maybe you need to consider your energy levels. We go in phases, I find. For example, sometimes I'm doing a bare minimum of artwork because it's all I can handle. This can go on for months at a time, and sometimes I'm excited and get a lot done. I try to really take advantage of those productive phases. Recognizing what phase you're in can be helpful so that you can give yourself some grace and say, I'm just not in the mood right now. I'm in a down period right now. I haven't been feeling it, and that's okay. And then take advantage of when you're feeling it. The phases of your inspiration will also be affected by what's going on in the rest of your life. If you're fighting with your partner, for example, that's going to potentially bring you down enough to cause your motivation to drop off or feel that sense of art block. This leads us to tip number 5, what to do when life is stressful and there's not enough time. It can be really hard to work a full-time job or be a full-time student and still be able to make art. It may even seem impossible. When I was working as a grade 5 elementary teacher before going into being a full-time freelance artist, I could not fathom having energy to come home and do any art. I could feel inside me I was itching to create, but the actual act of doing it felt so hard I just wanted to watch TV, and I usually did after work. It may be possible for some people to do the grind, come home, and work hard like a second job on their artwork. For others, it's out of the question. In my opinion, creative energy is even more consuming than just energy to do a mindless task like laundry. In my opinion, creative energy is even more consuming than just energy to do mindless tasks like laundry. Your brain is spending a lot of energy to be creative. You'll have to keep track of your energy levels again for stress and then find a way to make time if art is important enough. Do your self-care and hopefully you can find time outside of that. And if you can't find time, life should be long enough that we can come back to art at any time in our lives. Drawing and painting is a skill we can take into older ages. Unlike pursuing professional sports, for example, we can create in pretty much all stages of life. So taking off the pressure that your art journey needs to get established now and think of it as you have lots and lots of time, it really helps. This is a marathon and not a sprint. You can be drawing when you're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, why not? And even if you want it as a career, it could take time to get there, but you could still have this kind of career as you get older, and it doesn't have to be established by age 30. The average person goes through around 12 jobs in their lifetime, so no rush. Enjoy the journey. It's all about that destination. I feel life's really all about the journey anyway. Tip number 6, what to do when you don't know what to draw. Follow your inspirations. If you suddenly feel like drawing an anime portrait, then do it. Feel like painting a landscape? Do that. Listen to your inner inspirations. Do what you think would be enjoyable first. Don't have any inspirations? Well, go researching, reference hunting, and seek out new ideas. For example, after I spend 30 minutes reference hunting, scrolling and looking at artworks from others, I have like 20 new ideas of things I want to try. Do something like a Draw This in Your Style challenge, as that solves a lot of the what to draw dilemma for you. Find one you like on Instagram and just do it your way. It's a no pressure thing with lots of upsides for participating. Follow a draw along video on YouTube. I make lots of those on my channel for digital artists, and I have a few pencil draw alongs as well. It offers potentially more mindless and relaxing drawing activity to follow the lead of a teacher, as well as build foundational skills. I'll link some examples of those here and in the description. Even simpler, do a few 2-minute gesture sketches. Something easy and quick feels good and helps us build our skills and our confidence. Tip number 7, stop thinking, start drawing, and just do it. Don't overthink things. Doing so puts too much pressure on yourself, but we all do this. We all overthink at times. If you can identify that you're currently doing it, all the better, because you can tell yourself to cut it out and just get to work. It's an act of just do and don't overthink. Because art is my job, I literally have to create by deadlines, like my monthly Patreon rewards. That has to go out on the date. And so I sit down and I go robot mode, as I call it. No emotion, no thinking, just doing. So just start. Getting started actually drawing on a canvas is many times the hardest part. And if you're like me, once you start, it can actually be hard to stop. You just keep going and it flows. This doesn't happen every time, but it happens enough that the hardest part for me personally is usually that getting started bit. If you are putting down lines on your canvas, you've overcome a huge part of the struggle in creating. Tip number 8, set the mood to get in the right mindset. One of my best tricks for just sitting down and getting drawing is to put on a show or movie that is one of my all-time favorites. One of those shows you can watch over and over again. And that brings me to a place of comfort. And then I feel that comfort while I draw. I get cozy, get a blanket, get a snack, and it's then a calming experience to draw in. I can't watch anything new that takes focus to follow, as I won't know what's going on in the show. It's much better to have something I can listen to that I already like and know exactly what's going on. This may not be how you make your space comforting, but it is something to consider. How can we make our space comfortable or even inspiring so that you can be productive and be in the right mindset? Whether it's to light a candle, just clean up your space if mess is a problem for you, make that working space as comforting as possible. Tip number 9, honor and respect your creative time. Scheduling times for art creation is an idea. Times that your family members can respect is useful, and also schedule it so that you yourself will respect it. When I wake up in the morning, I think, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this today, and if I know I've scheduled art in the evening, I know I'm going to be doing it. I don't have to work up the nerve the same way I would if it wasn't scheduled. I've already fought the battle of making the decision, which is setting aside time and accepting that that is how I'm spending that time. If I know I have dedicated time, I can stop thinking about when I'm going to draw and think more about what I'm going to draw. This doesn't mean you need to schedule like every Friday I'm gonna draw for 2 hours. It's more like, okay, I have some free time tomorrow night and I'm gonna draw during that time. And you just kind of make that decision the night before to get in that mindset. When you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be thinking about your daily tasks, and it just makes it so much easier. In general, being disciplined is really important. Disciplined artists who respect the work and treat it like it is work. And when I do this work, I am respecting my goals and will reap the rewards in the long term. Which leads us to our final tip, number 10. Get clear about why you are creating and what your goals are. Remind yourself of your goals often, like a vision board, keeping in mind, this is probably one of the best things I can tell you in this video, the reasons of why I want to draw are more powerful than the reasons why I don't. Let me say that again so you understand me well, and tell yourself this when you feel a sense of art block. The reasons of why I want to draw is more powerful than the reasons of why I don't, because of the goals I want to achieve. Make your why powerful. If you can say the reason why I need to draw right now is more important than the reasons why I don't, then that's a great start. You can talk to yourself and say, I want to draw right now because I want XYZ to improve my skills, maybe make a career out of my art one day, whatever it is. It has to be more powerful than I feel like my art isn't very good or this blank canvas is scary. Remember, you've got lots of time. Do take your time, but also take action. Even if the action is just reflecting on your art block and making a plan of what to do next. When you feel good, use those times well. If you need a break, take a break. Respect your goals, treat your journey of developing art skills seriously, and be ready to work hard. Reflect on your own personal reasons for art block and make a plan to work on overcoming it. Hopefully these 10 tips will give you something to help you make a plan. If this was helpful, like and subscribe. Leaving a comment would be helpful to me as well. Love to see your feedback and video suggestions in the comments. And be sure to check out my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.